a quick story about how I became a Christian. I grew up in a Christian home, so both my parents were both born-again Christians. They lived for God, they went to church every week. And I remember I was a very good kid at school, really well behaved, very innocent and very naive. But one thing my dad made sure I wasn't innocent and naive was I wasn't innocent and naive about sin and the impacts of sin. So I remember my dad explained it to me sin is like when you make a decision, it's kind of like dominoes. Once you knock one down, the next one falls and the other one falls, and then it's in this spot that you never thought it would be. And so I remember just thinking I don't want to do stuff where I end up in a really bad place. And I remember my dad saying, if you live as a Christian, you get a really good, blessed life and you're really happy. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to live like that and I'm going to watch my friends and see what happens to them. So I did. And so I remember I got into high school and I remember watching my friends and they started knocking down their dominoes, It just started, off with lies, disobeying their teachers, and then, we were in year 12 and they were doing things they probably never thought they'd end up doing, and they were so lonely and hurt and stuff. And I remember thinking whoa, the Bible is real, God's gospel is real. And so I remember just living my life, thinking I'm the best person ever, but I kind of got bored and I started knocking down dominoes. It started off with lying, disobeying my parents, greed, and then it just got worse and worse and worse. And I remember just lying in bed one night thinking, oh my goodness, what have I done? And realizing that I'm so disgusting. And this scripture came to mind, and it was, sin will take you further than where you want to go and keep you longer than where you want to stay. And I remember thinking, that's my dad's story, the domino story. And I remember thinking oh my goodness, and knowing the only way I can get out of this, because I watched my friends trying to get out of it quickly, but they just couldn't. They just kept going deeper and deeper. And I remember the only way to get out of it was Jesus Christ, And I remember looking back at that story about how Jesus, he came down as a baby and he grew up and became a man, and how he died on this cross, and he got whipped, beaten, bruised, and he just hung up there and he died for me. And I remember realizing my sin, I put you up on there, Jesus, that should have been me. And I remember thinking why did you do that? I've just used you my whole life because I thought I can have a good life, and just live for you. Just follow what you say so I can just have this blessed life but not really submit to you. And I remember thinking I can't do this on my own and I need you to help me, and I am a sinner and I'm a terrible person. And I remember thinking thank you so much for doing that for me. And now I have this really I have this joy, I have this peace, and not only that, I get to go to heaven, but also I have this best friend throughout life, someone who I can walk through life. I have God, I have him when I'm sad, I have him when life is just so hard, and he's just always with me. You don't have to be depressed, you don't have to be sad. You've got Jesus Christ. And honestly, check it out, check God out, because he's amazing. He can transform you. And that's my story.